Sap is running cold beneath the porch, a frozen lock that's finally lost the fight. I'm checking smoke lines with a morning torch while shadows retreat from the coming light. The cedar giants stand in dense rows, watching the mud reclaim the switchback lane, repairing the things that the winter broke, a quiet conversation with the mountain rain. Run where the sky is wide, I remember the heat of the summer's flame. There's nowhere left for a soul to hide, just the wind and the silence that carries no name. But there's a mercy in the timberline, in the way the earth lets the living grow, takes back the camps and the rusted lines, and hides the old wounds beneath the new snow. Sires are ghost in the valley floor, their voices carried on a passing breeze. I saw the lights go out at the general stores, turn to needle beds and cedar trees. I still mend the radio and the weather vane with the grease and the wisdom of 40 years. There's a comfort in the steady mountain rain that washes all the silent fears. Chainsaw echoes are a dying sound, fading away into the gray and the gold. The fog is a blanket across the ground, a story that's waiting to finally be told. High on the ridge run where the sky is wide, I remember the heat of the summer's flame. There's nowhere left for a soul to hide, just the wind and the silence that carries no name. But there's a mercy in the timberline, in the way the earth lets the living grow. It takes back the camps and the rusted lines, and hides the old wounds beneath the new snow. Beneath the new snow. It's quiet now, just the wind.
Sodium glows on the freezing rain, switching the signals for a ghost train. 500 miles of Blackwater track, barges heading out, none coming back. Just me and the ghost of the midnight slip, watching the current sink the old iron ship. Grain terminals are bound to the ground, silence is the only thing we've found. My father's shadow is a grease-stained memory, he worked the freight line until he couldn't see. Now the town is rusting like an empty drum, and I'm just waiting for the day to come. At the 24-hour diner by the pier, I talk to strangers I've known for 40 years. We don't mention the way the drafts have slowed, or the hollow feeling on this midnight road. And the river flows like a clock on a wall, watching the great brick empire start to fall. We are the ballast in the bottom of the hull, living in the hollows and the empty skull. Cold river freight line moving slow and deep, promises the industries can't keep. coming like a knife in the dark, cutting through the mist over the terminal park. Walk away while soon and levee clouds still seed. There's a quiet dignity in the way we're trade alive. Just another shift on the cold river line. Everything disappears in the fullness of time. River backed up past the mold room door, leaving salt on the tile of the casting floor. I wade through the shadow of the cooling crane, while the humid air forgets the tropical rain. Old patterns are drifting in the oily silt, ghost of a world that the fire built. And the kiln still hums under the rust-blown roof, giving the silence its only proof. We're just alloys of carbon and coastal clay, tempered by the heat that won't fade away. Endurance isn't memory, it's just the steady glow, keeping the metal from getting cold below. I designed the bells that the city forgot, mapping the resonance, tying the knot. Now I'm checking the slag in the pre-dawn heat, a ritual dance for an empty street. The gauges are rusted, the pressure is slow, but the kiln knows the path where the river needs to go. The lattice is weeping a coat of clear glass, watching the shadows of the low clouds pass. I nudge the dial by a fraction of grain, tuning the frequency through the freezing rain. The vacuum is warming a cinder-lit red, keeping the voices inside of the head. Transmission is heavy, a thread in the height, a whisper of copper in the middle of the night. I am the relay, the final note, holding the current on a dark mountain road. Holding the current on a dark mountain road. I remember the currents, the maps of the past. Before the automated silence was cast, we relied on the tube and the filter soft hum, waiting for the rhythm of the valley to come. Now the signal is shivering, thin and afraid, but I'll keep the channel till the debt is repaid. Transmission is heavy, a thread in the hide, a whisper of copper in the middle of the night. I am the relay, the final note, holding the current on a dark mountain road. Signal clear, fade to wind.
Messery breeze at the waterline, mapping the friction of iron and time. I check the torque on the gear teeth spine, where the limestone meets the hemlock and vine. October's ghost in the intake bay, calibration set for the coming day. Stonebridge stands where the current slows, a skeleton of order where the river goes, accepting the grace that obsolescence shows, inside the walls where the cedar grows. 80 tons turn on hydraulic breath, a calculated rhythm defying death. We balance the head pressure, sink or swim, maintaining the light when the light goes dim. Only the river and what the lock knows. Stonebridge stands where the current slows, a skeleton of order where the river goes, accepting the grace that obsolescence shows, inside the walls where the cedar grows, inside the walls where the cedar grows. Lock 12 is sealed. Good night.
The heater rattles like a ghost in the grate. Rain on the rusted tin, Lord knows it's late. Narrow hollers waking fog is a shroud, yellow lights cutting through a winter heavy cloud. I shift the gears through the mud and the clay, another mile closer to another long day. Down in the tipple where the slate used to groan, a man is just bedrock and marrow and bone. I carried the shadows, I carried the shadows, I carried the weight. I left my lungs buried behind a metal gate, but the covenant holds when the lights go dim. You give what you got till the buckets brim. Oh, it's a coal dust alley in the morning air, finding a little bit of province waiting there. When the vein runs empty and the town goes still, we're still climbing up this weary mountain hill, a quiet mercy in a land left behind. Little faces pressed to the glass in the mist, hands that haven't learned what the world wants to twist. No gold in the valley, no riches in the deep, just a congregation of promises we keep. I nod at the mothers and I wave at the boys. The bus is the only light that makes any noise. Oh, it's a coal dust alley in the morning air, finding a little bit of province waiting there. When the vein runs empty and the town goes still, we're still climbing up this weary mountain hill, a quiet mercy in a land left behind. Final wordless hum. It's a long road back to the light. Skeleton of the furnace house don't breathe no more, just echoes through the hollow where the steel men walked before. 70 summers in the grit and silt, 70 years of grease, passing down the callous skin and the war that won't ever cease. Heat rises off the asphalt like a ghost of the afternoon. A heavy sun is sinking, but it won't be cooling soon. I got oil-stained fingers and a history written the scars, counting down the miles beneath the fading of the stars. We are the rust and the residue, the hands that didn't fold, a story told in fire and ash and everything we hold. The blacktop carries us home when the whistle finally blows, to a quiet kind of pride that only the heavy heart knows. Only the heavy heart knows. Still moving forward, just the rust and the residue. Just the rust and the residue. Rust belts breathing shallow beneath the purple sky, where the heat is rising up and the river's running dry. 12 hours in the belly of the furnace and the suit, got the spirit in the clouds and the iron in my foot. I've seen the mills go quiet like a secret never told, but the hands don't stop, they're moving just because the heart grows cold. Sunbaked blacktop, steel hands on the wheel, turning all my years into something I can feel. Pride in the grease, silent endurance in the bone, walking down this long road to a house I call my own. My father's father's shadow is etched inside the floor, behind the heavy lock on the old factory door. He traded in his mornings for the bread upon the plate. Now the town is just and the hours getting late, but the scars across my knuckles tell a story of the light, of how we kept the fire through the middle of the night. Sunbaked blacktop, steel hands on the wheel, turning all my years into something I can feel. Pride in the grease, silent endurance in the bone, walking down this long road to a house I call my own. Just the sunset and the road, still moving forward.
Tide left its signature in brown on the pine, a water line, the ghost of the line. Porch swings are tangled like old bobbin thread, while the sky turns the color of salt and of lead. We were the gears and the grease and the loom. Now we're just sweeping the salt from the room. Hands that once guided the cotton and steel are holding the light so the neighbors can feel. So the neighbors can feel. Old Mrs. Green's porch is a jigsaw of slats. I'm checking the battery, watching for cats. Just a spool of copper and a spool of twine, trying to repair what the wind read is signed. We were the gears and the grease and the loom. Now we're just sweeping the salt from the room. Hands that once guided the cotton and steel are holding the light so the neighbors can feel. Yeah, holding the
The sundown has a memory, a frequency of red. I tune the bronze to balance where the ancient winds are led. A strike against the silence, a vibration in the height, mapping out the hollows before the failing of the light. I don't look for landmarks, I don't look for the way. I listen for the echo of the closing of the day. My fingers trace the fissures where the shadow likes to cling. I wait for the reflection that the vertical will bring. A cartographer of distance, a surveyor of the air, finding all the corners that are hidden in the glare. I am the oscillation, never really distant and never quite alone. Let the song travel through the throat of the wall. A resonance rise between the canyon and the sound, anchored in the echo where the spirit can be found. The psalm of the surface, the psalm of the deep, secrets in the sandstone that the vibration will keep, washing out the markers and the paths that we have tread. But the acoustics hold the measure, the geometry remains, a perfect ring in tension through the washing of the rains. I close my eyes and listen, I let the mapping in, letting all the silence and the resonance descend. The iron breeze in tensile strands, against the dark the glass cathedral stands. I grade the ice by spectral tone, extract the truth from fractured stone. A linguist of the lithic bed, where the pulse is measured and words are dead. 0 degrees of atmospheric weight, we calibrate the structural fate. Is the rigidity a choice we make? In the silent pressure of the frozen lake, I listen for the aurora's hum, waiting for the resonance to come. We are the sensors, we are the wire, frozen echoes of a buried fire. Copper forks and copper dreams, tuning every joint and beam. The rhyme ice clings to the tension cable, a narrative written on an iron table. Lake Superior holds its breath below, while violet rivers start to flow. the perfect silence begin. Oscillation stops, the light pulls in. 0 degrees, only the resonance remains. Sun don't even bother to wake the field today, just a bruise of violet where the clouds roll away. I'm pouring wine the tar, watching the world divide, keeping the lane true while the weather likes to hide. The truck bed holds the weight of 40 summers past, every gallon of paint praying that the center strip will last before the wind kicks up and the silos start to moan. Man gets used to the sound of being mostly alone. And the white line follows where the cottonwoods bend, tracing out a boundary that never seems to end. When the sirens start to coil in the belly of the sky, I'll still be laying down the ghost as the storm clouds drift by. Yeah, the white line cottonwood marks where I belong, steady in the heartbeat of a land that's gone along. The glove box is crowded with a picture frame of 2, faces in the dashboard glare fading to a lighter hue. The boy is at the creek, she's laughing at the rain. Now the only laughter I hear is the creak of a freight chain. I don't mind the repetition or the way the dust collects. It's the only form of prayer that a man like me respects, just a brush against the gravel, a streak of honest light, holding the edges together before the coming night. The air is heavy copper, tastes like a coming change. Lightning flickers rhythm on the backbone of the range. I'm finishing the marker, 1 more mile to go. While the weed heads shiver in the current down below, I won't be rushing home to a house that's gathered cold. I'd rather watch the sky turn a deep impossible gold. Let the funnel touch the earth, let the fury have its say. I painted my own path to keep the dark at bay. And the white line follows where the cottonwoods bend, tracing out a boundary that never seems to end. When the sirens start to coil in the belly of the sky, I'll still be laying down the ghost as the storm clouds drift by. Yeah, the white line cottonwood marks where I belong, steady in the heartbeat of a land that's gone along. The yard is waking in a coat of gray, calibrating rhythms before the dawn of day. My boots are reading the gravel, the pulse of the track, listening to the hum in the belly of the stack. The coupling's a hammer, a heavy iron word, a language of steel that only I have heard. I don't need the lamplight to know the line. It's a frequency, a tension, a design. I feel the tremor in the ballast, the shift of the weight, a calculated moment at the intersection gate. The steel is a lattice, a map in my hand, the heartbeat of an order I help to command. And I trust the vibration to tell me the truth, more than the vision of the days of my youth. Precision is patient, it's a long, steady curve, the invisible grace in the deep-seated nerve. In the art of the sleeping, in the art of the mind, keeping the order, leaving nothing behind. A faint radio crackle through the mist in the air, a ghost in the tower, a hum in the prayer. I'm tuning the switch point, a fraction of space, where the metal is moving with a rhythmic grace. It's quiet navigation, a work of the soul, keeping the fragments from losing the whole. And I trust the vibration to tell me the truth, more than the vision of the days of my youth. Precision is patient, it's a long, steady curve, the invisible grace in the deep-seated nerve.
Train horn fades in distance.
Snow has a frequency, a shift in the ground, a language of pressure that's better than sound. I pull on the lever, I feel the iron groan. The frostbitten fruit gives way to the squeeze, a rhythmic tension beneath the bare trees. It's not in the hearing, it's not in the rain, it's the pulse of the winter, the pull of the spring. I'm reading the rhythm, the weight of the hand, ghost of the harvest, the law of the land. I learned from the vibration of the old cider press, a tremor in the timber, a tactile distress. My palms on the housing, a map of the grain, translating the cold, a patience of skin, letting the mechanical memory begin. It's not in the hearing, it's not in the rain, it's the pulse of the winter, the pull of the spring. I'm reading the rhythm, the weight of the hand, the ghost of the harvest, the law of the land. The gears are quiet now, just the winter. Step through the tunnel where the salt air sighs, 12 meters deep where the light trap lies. Low tide window, the water pulls back, tracing the seals for a hairline crack. Pressure rods ready in the damp stone light to wake the parlor for a ghost tonight. The salt wire hums through the English mud, echo of pulse through the heavy flood, communication through a lead line gate. We bridge the distance in the sleep, while the world above is fast asleep. I remember the dives in the Dover dark, checking the conduit, chasing the spark. 5 decades down in the bitter cold, learning the secrets the pressure holds, tuning the pipes with a silver rod, a prayer in the silence to a heavy God. Calibrate the pulse before the water returns. Feel how the salt-proof signal burns. Tighten the glands on the metal seam, saving the wire, saving the dream. The tide is a hammer, the tide is a wall, waiting for the moment that the chamber will fall. Salt wire hums through the English mud, echo a pulse through the heavy flood, communication through a lead line gate. We bridge the distance in the sleep, while the world above is fast asleep.
Ice on the winch, the salt crust stinging at every pinch. I'm checking the pots in the black water swell, listening for the harbor bell's muffled knell. My hands know the rhythm, they know the weight of a rusted chain and a heavy tide fate. The ledger is empty, the fuel is low, but the current is waiting and I have to go. Father's shadow is carved in the deck, a storm warning hanging around my neck. The big steel fleets pull out by the dawn, buying the silence till the bottom is gone. I'm mending the line while the nor'easter bites, chasing the ghost in the harbor lights. We're fading like ink on a wave-tossed map, caught in the gears of the corporate trap. Oh, broken water, give back what you take. I'm holding the tiller for my own sake. The fog is a blanket, the wind is a wall. I answer the sea whenever it calls. Harbor lights flickering, guide me near through the cold salt heavy middle of fear. The horizon is bruised in a slate-colored haze, counting the hours, burning the days. I'll pull in the bounty before the tide turns, with a fire in the hold that only survival burns. No promise of shore, no steadying land, just the grain of the ocean in the palm of my hand. Oh, broken water,